There are warnings of gales in Viking, North Utsira, South Utsira, Forth, Thames, Dover, Wight, Biscay, Fitzroy...
It's complicated and critical. Forecasting the weather can even be a matter of life and death. And modern meteorology owes much to this man, Lewis Fry Richardson. His story begins here at Eskdalemuir Observatory in Dumfriesshire. So what do we have here, Ian?
This is the thermometer screen.
100 years ago today, it was Richardson taking the temperature here for the first time. He was a mathematician starting out on a career which would eventually transform the weather forecast.
He invented what's called numerical weather prediction, which is basically doing it by formulae.
And that would have been revolutionary at the time.
It would. Unfortunately, he couldn't do much about it because it entails such phenomenal computing power. He actually found out himself that if he had a team of 64 mathematicians working continually, in about 6 months they would come up with a forecast for the following day. This is a traditional 5-inch copper rain gauge set within a turf wall to protect it from the wind.
So Richardson would have done this on this spot?
He'd have done exactly this, James.
In 1922, Richardson published Weather Prediction by Numerical Process. It was a visionary work, but one which still had little practical application. And by now, he had resigned on a point of principle. He was a pacifist as well. I mean, one imagines he probably quite liked the peaceful nature of this part of the world.
Yes, he was a Quaker, and that involved... It's actually why he left the Met Office, because the Met Office became involved with things like the fledgling Royal Air Force, and he wasn't comfortable with that.
By the 1950s, better measuring equipment and faster computing meant that Richardson's revolutionary ideas were becoming reality. And those methods are still in use today.
Well, obviously they've been tweaked over the years, but the basics that he developed are still in use all over the world, yes.
They threw a party for Richardson when he arrived in Dumfriesshire. Today they'll throw another one in his honour 100 years on, celebrating their link to the father of the modern weather forecast. James Cook, BBC News, Eskdalemuir.